Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Roseline. On this channel, I create content around food recipes and other exciting videos. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing with you some of the things that we call differently in Nigeria and in South Africa, yet they mean the same thing. I can assure you that this is a very interesting video and you don't want to miss out of it. So please ensure that you watch the very end of this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing to this channel so that you can be a part of this wonderful and growing family. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So I'm going to be starting with the South Africa words first, and I will tell you what we call them in Nigeria. In South Africa, what you call pap, in Nigeria we call it swallow. And this swallow can be in form of poundo yam, semovita, semolina, or the popular amala. And what you call porridge in South Africa, in Nigeria we call it pap. In South Africa, what you call taxi rank, in Nigeria we call it the motor park or the garage. And in South Africa, what you call the garage, in Nigeria we refer to it as the petrol station or the filling station. In South Africa, what you refer to as the plastic, in Nigeria we call it the nylon. Yeah, we call it the nylon. For people who are not in South Africa or they are not in Nigeria, I'm actually talking about the carrier bag. So in South Africa, they say plastic, but in Nigeria, we call it nylon. So in South Africa, when you say you have flu, in Nigeria, we say we have cough and catarrh. Yes, what you refer to as flu here in South Africa, in Nigeria, it's either you have catarrh or you have cough or you have both. In South Africa, what you refer to as chili or scotch bonnet, in Nigeria, we call them pepper. I know in South Africa, when you hear pepper, it's either the green bell pepper, the yellow bell pepper, or the red bell pepper. But in Nigeria, we just categorize everything as pepper. But here in South Africa, you call them chili. Also, in South Africa, as a lady, when you go to the salon, you tell your salonist that you want to, make wig lines, or you want to make lines, or you want to make cornrows. But in Nigeria, we tell our salonists most often that we want to make weaving. In short, when I first came to this country, I went to a particular salon and I was telling the lady I want to make weaving. And she was just staring at me like, what do you mean? I had to show her a picture of what I wanted on my phone. That was when she was able to get what I actually wanted to do with my hair. So in South Africa, for ladies, they say, oh, I want to make the wig lines, or they simply say, I want to make lines, like the straight back lines and all that. But in Nigeria, we just tell our salonists that want to make weaving. This is not to say there are not people in Nigeria who also refer to them as cornrows, but the popular name we refer to cornrows as is just weaving. In South Africa, what you refer to as lounge, in Nigeria, we call it parlor or living or sitting room. So if you say, oh, your lounge is well arranged and so beautiful, in Nigeria, I'm going to tell you your sitting or your living room, or rather your parlor, is well arranged and looks so beautiful. So as a South African, if you say lounge, in Nigeria, we refer to it as sitting or living room. It's either you say your sitting room, your living room, or your parlor. But here in South Africa, you say lounge. In South Africa, you say suitcase. But in Nigeria, we refer to it as traveling bag or traveling box. Yes, we refer to it as traveling bag or traveling box. In South Africa, what you call the robots, like I want to stop by the robots, in Nigeria, we call it traffic lights. Yes, we call it traffic lights. So when you say robots, in Nigeria, we say traffic lights. And in South Africa, when you say you are head up in traffic, in Nigeria, we say we are in a hold up, like we are head up in hold up. Like I'm in a hold up. I'm not saying there are not other persons who also refer to it as traffic in Nigeria, but the most common words that is used to describe that scenario is, oh, I'm head up in a hold up, or I'm in a hold up. I think that's just a proper way to say, like, I'm in a hold up. But here in South Africa, you say like, oh, I'm head up in a traffic. In South Africa, you say 2-liter cold drink, right? What you refer to as cold drink here in South Africa, in Nigeria, we refer to it as soft drinks, like soft drinks. But here, like, give me my 2-liter cold drinks. But in Nigeria, you say, give me my 2-liter soft drinks. So you say cold drinks and we say soft drinks. Also in South Africa, when you say taxi, we say bus, or we say bus. That is how most people pronounce it, bus. In South Africa, what you refer to as jersey, in Nigeria, we call it sweater or cardigan. You know, it took me some time to be able to get over this. I keep telling my son, go and bring your sweater, go and bring your cardigan. Like, no, it's not sweater, it's not cardigan. It's referred to as jersey. So when you say jersey in South Africa, in Nigeria, we say sweater or we say cardigan. Also for the ladies, in South Africa, when you walk into the mall and you tell them, oh, I'm looking for a dress to buy. In Nigeria, we say, I want to buy a gown. So what we refer to as dress, in Nigeria, we call it gown. I mean, dress in Nigeria is like the compound name for, you know, all those wearables. Dress is like the compound name for all the wearables. So when we are talking about, you know, that long gown, like the long dress or the three-quarter dress or the mini dress, in Nigeria, we just call it gown. But here in South Africa, you refer to it as dress. Also for the ladies, when you want to make your hair like the box braid, the knotless braid, or even the twist, you tell your salonist, or rather your salonist is going to ask you that what kind of hair extension or what kind of hair piece or what kind of hair fiber do you want to use. Oh, in Nigeria, we refer to hair piece, hair fiber, and hair extension as attachments. I mean, you are attaching something to your hair. So in Nigeria, we call it attachments and not hair fiber, hair piece, or hair extension. When I just came into this country and, you know, anytime I have any reason to make my hair, I keep telling my salonist, like, okay, this is the color of attachments that I want. And she was like, what do you mean by attachment, for God's sake? So in Nigeria, we refer to it as attachment, but here it is called hair piece, hair extension, or rather hair fiber. Also for the ladies, here in South Africa, when they want to take out their braids, for instance, you've carried your braids for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you know, for any period of time you actually carried your braids and you want to take them off. And if you don't want to do it yourself and you have to go to the salon, you're going to tell the salonist like you want to undo your hair. Like in Nigeria, we say, I want to loosen my hair. You know, recently it still happened to me. You know, I chatted up a salonist and I was telling her like, okay, how much do you charge for losing hair? And then she replied like, what do you mean by losing hair? I was like, oh. In short, after 6 years, you would assume I should have gotten used to this, right? So I had to like correct myself, like, no, I mean, I want to undo my braids, not losing my braids. So here in South Africa, they say they want to undo their braids, they want to undo their hair, but in Nigeria, like, I want to lose my hair, yes. Also in South Africa, you say medication, but in Nigeria, we use the D word, like we say drugs. I know there is a lot of controversies around this word, but that is what most Nigeria refer to it as. The same thing you call medication here is what we call drugs back in Nigeria and not otherwise. In South Africa, you say fat cake or amagwinya. Yes, did I pronounce it well? Amagwinya, yeah, or magwinya, fat cakes. But in Nigeria, we say puff like it's puffy. I mean, it's made from flour, and if you press it, you see it's actually puffy, so it's puff. But here in South Africa, they are referred to as fat cakes. For the ladies, what you refer to as Benny and Betsy. In Nigeria, we refer to it as the wool style. In Nigeria, if you go to the salon, instead of saying, oh, I want to make Benny and Betsy, I mean, people are just going to be looking at you like, what do you mean by Benny and Betsy? You just simply tell them, I want to make the wool style. The wool style is a WOOL, the wool style. But here in South Africa, you just tell them, I want to make Benny and Betsy. Also, in South Africa, what you refer to as the granny flats or the granny flats. Did I pronounce it well? The granny flats or the granny flats, or rather the cottage. In Nigeria, we refer to it as boys' quarters, like boys' quarters. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it is boys or it is just boys that live in there. No, but we just call it boys' quarters. Don't ask me why, but we call it boys' quarters. But here in South Africa, you call them granny flats or the cottage. In South Africa, you say you are going to the grocery store, right? So what we refer to as the grocery store, in Nigeria, we call it the supermarket. Oh, hello, Roseline, I'm going to the supermarket. But here you can just say, hello, Roseline, I'm going to the grocery store. So when you say grocery store in Nigeria, we say supermarket or supermarket. Also in South Africa, at the end of your university degree, for people who do excellently or exceptionally well, you tell people that, oh, I made a cum laude. But in Nigeria, we refer to it as the first class. So when you say cum laude in South Africa, in Nigeria, we say first class. In South Africa, you say peanuts, your peanut butter. In Nigeria, we say groundnuts, groundnuts. Yeah, so when you say peanuts, we say groundnuts. But I don't know if we have groundnut butter because we also call it peanut butter. But you know, the seed, like the ones that are still in the seed form, are not the creamy peanut butter that we know. When you say peanuts, we say groundnuts. Also, in South Africa, you say couch. Like currently, I am making this video sitting on the couch. But if it was to be in Nigeria, I'll tell you, Roseline is making this video sitting on a sofa or sitting on a seater. And that is why in Nigeria, we have the 5-seater, the 3-seater, the 2-seater, and maybe the 1-seater. So, and some other persons in Nigeria just say chair, 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 like chia or chair. We have so many pronunciations, but meaning the same word in Nigeria. So when you say couch in South Africa, in Nigeria, we simply say sofa, seater, or some people even say furniture. Oh, I love your furniture. Don't be surprised, they are actually referring to your couch. Also, in South Africa, you say pants. I'm referring to what the men and the boys wear. But in Nigeria, we call it trouser, like trouser, trouser, trouser. And what we refer to as pants in Nigeria, it's an underwear, like an undergarment. That is what we refer to as pants. Another word is tekkies or sneakers. In South Africa, you use the word tekkies or sneakers. But in Nigeria, the popular word to describe that same item is referred to as canvas or trainers. So when I tell you as a Nigerian that, oh, I'm wearing a canvas or I'm wearing a trainers, I'm simply telling you, a South African, that I'm wearing a sneaker or I'm wearing a tekkies. Also, there is this word that is so funny to me because recently I hosted my sister and her daughter, and then there was a day I was listening to a conversation between her daughter and my own son. And my son said, "This is nanjis." And my sister's daughter was like, "No, it is not nanjis, it is tangerine." You know why? What we refer to as nanjis here in South Africa, in Nigeria, we call it tangerine. Like here in South Africa, you can say, "Roseline, please, can I have some nanjis?" But in Nigeria, you would have to say, "Roseline, please, can I have some tangerine?" So you say nanjis, in Nigeria, we say tangerine. I hope you found this video informative and entertaining. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't make this your last. Like this video, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Share this video with your friends and your family so that they can get to know about my channel and they can also subscribe to my channel. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button so that you can be a part of this wonderful and growing family. Thank you so much for your time today. Until I come your way next time again, remain blessed. Bye.